All right, welcome to Conversations with KP Season 2, Episode 1. Before I get to my guest here, first off, thank you guys for listening. If you are listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube, subscribe, please. We're going to be uploading clips from each episode that I do with my guests on YouTube. If you're listening, do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We want to share the story and get it to as many audiences as possible. Also, if you've been listening to this podcast and you would like to share your testimony on this podcast, there are opportunities to do that by clicking the link in my bio and clicking testimony. You can fill out a form saying that you want to share a testimony. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And we'll set up a phone conversation and we'll talk about getting your story in there. I want people who are listening, who have a story, to share their story that other people can know God through it. I think it's very important that we do that. The Bible says, set free by the blood of the Lamb and the word of his testimony. So testimonies are very important. And new format for Conversations with KP. So before we get started, just sharing that information with you guys, those announcements. And now I'm going to share a Bible verse with you from 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 21. Guys, bear with me because I didn't put my streamer there. But I've got it right here. Then he went out to the spring that supplied the town with water and threw the salt into it. And he said, "This is what the Lord says. I've purified this water. It will no longer cause death or infertility." And the water has remained pure ever since, just as Elijah said. I want to encourage you guys with this verse that you're called to be the salt in the water in your community, and you are called to clean those waters. And wherever you are, whatever your occupation is, I just want to encourage you to do that. It doesn't look like, being very preachy or loud. I've heard a pastor from Charlotte say it like this: the greatest sermon is not the one you speak, but it's the one you live. So by living a life that is pleasing to God, holy and acceptable, you will then be cleaning the waters of your community and being that salt that God has called you to be. So I want to encourage you guys with that. Now I'm going to introduce my guest, who I'm super excited to have on the podcast. We've been trying to set this up for a while. Welcome, Luke Alexander, to Conversations with KP, the founder of Good Water.
Thanks for having me, KP. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and Luke does more than that, and we're going to get into all the things that Luke does. That's just one of the things that he really did. He actually supplied this water. This is good water. For conference, I'm actually going to take a sip of this water.
Yes, sir.
Man, that water is good. Luke, can you tell them just a little bit about Good Water before we get started?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, KP. I really appreciate it. We've been talking about this for years, honestly. But yeah, Good Water is a new bottled water brand, and the reason why we started is that I was in LA last year and went through Skid Row and saw people my age living in tents, and it just kind of sucked. So
Yeah.
I met with my buddy and we were like, "Oh snap! Wish we could do something about it." And I don't know. Long story short, we kind of came up with Good Water, and 40% of everything that we do, every profit that we make, goes right back into that community. So just kind of creating a brand to like give back. You know what I mean?
Bro, that's awesome. 40%, guys. It says in the back, 40% is a lot to give away. And that's why we do it.
That's exactly why we do it.
So Luke he's an agent of change in this community, and I'm so honored to have you on, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
We can go straight into it, man. You have a ministry background, which I've learned. What is it like to come from a legacy of pastors?
Pressure. That's good. Well, I feel like I'm very fortunate to come from a legacy of pastors that prioritize health, but also hard work. I just came back from Trinidad, and the reason why I was in Trinidad because my grandparents were celebrating 63 years in ministry.
That's crazy.
Literally
63 years.
63 years. It was crazy because I was in the pew, and because they have those old fashioned benches, low key. But I was like, everything I thought I was doing, all the stress I had, was like, bro, they've been like in this. This is like my second year out of college or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing this, they've been living this, and like it's cool seeing like having a front row seat because it's like my grandmother, for example, right? Like she builds churches all over. But like up until probably like 4 years ago, she's like 83 now.
Mm-hmm.
She was legit carrying bricks to help out with people to like build their churches, like legitimate bricks. So much so that it fell on one of them fell on her foot and she broke her foot. She's okay now. But that kind of seeing that kind of mentality of like no matter what age you are, like no matter how many accolades people give you or whatever, it's like you're still going to be a servant regardless and give your all. Like so you literally cannot give anything. So it's really like the best. And even with my parents, like see my mom and dad leave in the middle of the night to go to somebody's house to help them with whatever they need, like
Yeah.
any kind of situation or in the hospital for hours and stuff like that, and then still come home and be the best that they can for us or whatever. Dude, I'm just really really grateful, like very very grateful. So now I'm like, how can and they expect me to do like greater things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like an unhealthy pressure, but they're like, we raised you to like be the change however God's called you to be with us through music or whatever. So it was really nice seeing them multi do everything, but all at the same time one thing because it's just for God. So it's nice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And seeing your parents sacrifice and still been able to commit to raising you, man. I
Yeah.
salute them for sure. With all that and the legacy that your grandparents and parents left with you, how do you believe that is shaping your life currently?
Yeah, I think um makes what I'm it makes it feel like all the things that God's called me to do isn't impossible. If that makes sense. So it's like because I've seen them do a lot of things excellently and kind of seen them go through the fire as well. And it looks like it's just like, all right, my turn. It doesn't seem like I don't know if I'm gonna make it or I don't know if God is just like, bro, they've been doing this, so it's my turn to step up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's like definitely shaped everything because it's like I'm not walking into say like Goodwater or the 417 project or anything like that. Like I'm not walking into it saying, oh no, maybe this isn't where I need to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times I get mad fearful, but then because my parents have lived through it and my grandparents are like, yo, you're being backed into a corner right now. So like get out the corner and just thank God and just keep on going.
Yeah.
So I think their perspective and like how I've seen them live their life definitely makes me like it's just like if someone kicks you in your leg, whatever, then you look over and like I know someone's leg is like actually broken or whatever. It's just like, bro, they've been through a lot worse. I'll be fine. You know what I mean?
I do that quite a bit.
Yeah, for real.
Quite a bit. And I think that's really cool that you said that. And also, I also want to say, I've seen it shape out in your life too. Kind of when you say your parents are visiting people late at night, that passion for people,
Yeah.
and you have a passion for helping people as well. Talk about the organizations that you're spearheading and why you decided to start them.
Yeah. Um, so I'm currently, spearheading. I have the opportunity to spearhead Goodwater and stuff. It's really fun. Another organization called the 417 Project, and our goal is to, help provide therapy for women who've been involved or is involved in street-based sex work and stuff. Um, and then another thing called 38 Records, and that's just kind of us providing like holistic care in the music industry as a label, just providing in that kind of sense. So yeah, I'm really grateful, and was all kind of came up just from things I feel like God was just showing me of like where the need is or whatever. Like with like the label and stuff like that, we had opportunity to, potentially sign a few people to some major labels and stuff like that.
That's awesome, bro.
Which is really, really fun. But then, the kind of deals that they're going to get just wasn't going to be healthy for them.
Mm-hmm.
So like that challenged me is like, all right, create the music industry you want to see. So we did it. And, we're just currently trying to work on that and, continue to let that run and really just like start stepping into it, I feel like. And then with the 417 project, I was praying one day, I was like, yo, God, what you need? And he's like, this group is pretty, neglected. And I was like, all right, say less. So, for months and months and months, just doing research on, sex trafficking and, these kinds of different fields. And because everyone wants to help, which is amazing. But it's just like, how can you actually practically help? So after, getting a lot of counsel from people that's already in this industry and all this kind of stuff, just seeing where we could help out the best, we kind of came up with this. So that's also, something that's happening. And yeah, Good Water, about like 4 or 5 months ago, I was like, all right, this is a cool idea, but like, I'll probably do it in like 5 years when I can, because there's really like stuff going on and stuff. And like God that kind of like woke me up and he's like, yo, go take a walk. And it's like starting out, there's a need for it right now. I was like, all right, say less. So I just locked myself in my little apartment for the next 3 months, super antisocial. And we're just like, all right, let's get it. And now we got water, guys.
Good water.
But yeah, so that's kind of how that happened. And grateful for like all the teams. Like none of this stuff would happen if like there weren't insanely talented individuals helping with all of it. Like for example, Good Water. I have to make a couple shout outs real quick.
Yeah, do it.
Good Water. Shout out to Zach St. Ward. He helped design, come with the name. He's just been like my right hand guy with this whole entire time, and I'm insanely grateful for him. And Ricky, we were in a coffee just talking about the need in LA because we just went back, and he's a really great brother, and I'm very grateful for him. And for the 417 project stuff, I'm almost done. Natalie Pardo, you are amazing. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie, and Caitlin, and Rachel, and all you people, and 3 Anais, Kelly, Stella. You guys are the best. I literally would not be here without any of them and their patience, because they need a lot of patience. But yes, thank you guys.
No, bro, anytime we shout out people, take your time. Hey. I want you to do that. When I think of you, I think of, I don't know if it's a verse, I don't know if it's biblical, but when there's a problem, instead of complaining about the problem, you're the type of person that finds a solution.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you for all the things you're doing, because they're having an impact. I'm sure, and I know they can have even a greater impact.
Yes, sir. Well, the 417 project, it comes from James 417.
Man.
And it goes along the lines of like, I'm paraphrasing, but if you see that your brother's in need, but you don't like help with the solution, basically, like you yourself are sinning. I'm like, that's a high standard to live by. So
I was gonna say we have the Bible here.
Yeah. No.
Let's
pull it up. Let's pull it up.
You really want to pull it up?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll let Luke read this.
I paraphrase the heck out of it.
Yeah, so we can get the full version.
Accountability, y'all.
Hebrews and James. Guys, bear with me.
Genesis,
I did not
Exodus.
come prepared. James 4. Yeah, 7.
Okay. Which version is this?
New Living Translation.
Okay, we like that. Remember, it is a sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it. Yee!
That'll preach.
Bro, that joint is heavy. remember, it is a sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it.
Hey, that'll preach.
I mean, Brooke Ligertwood had, this song or whatever.
Love her.
And I'm going to paraphrase the lyrics now. It's like, if you see something, like, do something, basically.
I love that's actually sweet and simple. And
See, it's simple.
it's just straight to the point.
See something, do something. That's not what the lyric says, but that's the gist of it.
And I really love your company, Goodwater. I love
Thank you,
417 and your music record label, but I really love Goodwater.
Thank you, man.
What do you hope to accomplish with Goodwater?
Honestly, help as many people as you possibly can.
Yeah.
While changing culture. Like, I think a big goal for the team and I is to like kind of reshape thinking of like what you actually need. So that's why it's like fun to see how like a cool emerging bottled water brand could just rely on their 60% and not 100 or 90 or whatever. And I think it's just kind of like just trying to preach the narrative that it's not just really about us. Like, I don't know, our like motto is like drink good, do better. And like, I don't know, we're just trying to do better, do the best that we can for others and not make it about us. But while also like actually working with like really dope organizations in our country right now to help solve, homelessness in a way. Like we're not saying that like by just pouring out money or whatever, it's just gonna solve and
magically happen.
Yeah, like there's really dope organizations out there right now. For example, People Love in Nashville. We love y'all.
Yes, we do. 100.
But like that's a great example of like people that don't just that are like legit trying to get to the root of issues for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And not just be like, all right, well, here's this, but like actually caring for them. So I don't know, just finding ways we can support organizations like that. Honestly, that's like our really big thing, and help provide stable income. That's like how the idea like kind of originally started, because just like, if we could provide jobs, what I mean, for people specifically that's experiencing homelessness right now, so that help them have stable income, that could just probably just help their life a little bit. So
of course, man. And tell listeners and people watching where they can buy Goodwater.
Yeah, so right now you can go on our website, wowgoodwater.com, and it'll take you to a link and you could order it from there.
Yeah.
We also deliver in Nashville for free and Franklin or surrounding areas. But yeah, it's gonna be on Amazon really, really soon, so look out for that too.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's Goodwater.
Yeah.
This is Luke Alexander.
Yes.
Bro, thanks for being on.
Hey, of course.
Thanks for sharing everything. Talk about your other projects too, where they can find those and ways to support 417.
Yeah. So
417.
You could check out the 417 project at the 417 project. We're about to release like some really, really fun projects. Our Instagram's a little blank right now because we just archived everything, because we're just kind of low-key starting fresh. And for 38 Records, we're having a few like a lot of music coming out really, really soon in the works. So, just look out for that too. It's gonna be a vibe. It's gonna be a good time.
And Luke, where can they find you on Instagram?
Luke_Lex.
Luke_Lex. Y'all follow, give Luke a follow on the gram. Guys, thank you for watching, listening as well. Make sure you guys subscribe, share this episode, rate and review it. And thank you guys for listening. If you want to share a testimony, you know what to do. Hit the link in the bio. I'll get back to you. And love you guys. God bless.